Like I started getting drunk, and I started getting drunk real well. Smoking a little bit of dope and smoking it really well. You know, when I was young, there was very little room, if not zero tolerance for secular music or worldly music, right? Like there was just zero tolerance. I mean, I'm talking about like we couldn't listen to anything but gospel. We couldn't listen to anything but church music. Like that was it. That was the only thing that we can do. And I was raised in a apostolic household, which meant my sisters couldn't wear makeup. We couldn't have TV. We couldn't listen to worldly music. They couldn't cut their hair. They couldn't, wear earrings or any sort of jewelry, anything like that. That's the way that we grew up. I want to say it was around 6th or 7th grade where my mom decided that she wanted to leave that particular religion. We were kind of then thrust into the quite opposite world, where the music started to come in. The TV appeared in the house. We started to watch TV. We started to do these things that we normally wouldn't have done. It was a little bit of a shock, right? It was a little bit of a like, whoa, like now we get to do all these things. Like what is really out here? And when I started to wander around the streets a bit and I started to get into it, I started figuring out, I'm like, wow, there's a lot of things out here that I didn't even know really existed. I had no idea all this fun was out here. I didn't know that these girls and the drugs and all this stuff was just out here. And I really started to experience it on a high level. I wasn't somebody who could just kind of tip my toe in just a little bit. Like I started getting drunk, and I started getting drunk real well. Smoking a little bit of dope and smoking it really well. Like I started going out there and looking for opportunities to dive into this stuff. And it was really, really crazy. Like it was a crazy time in my life that ended up me in Indianapolis, Indiana, where I ended up having my children out there. That's another story for another day. But when I think about the influences that I've had in my life, and I think about the things that have deterred me or have straightened me out, I really take an inventory of what I allow to be in my mind, right? And I think that there's something great about the structure that I was given as a young man, as a young boy, in that church. Although I don't still follow those belief systems and I don't necessarily agree with them anymore, that I think that having some sort of structure in your life is important when it comes to things of the world, right? And I'm not just talking about structure that we usually talk about, where we're talking about getting up and working out and having a schedule and doing these things and having a to-do list and going after your day and going after your goals and achieving them. I'm not just talking about that. What I'm actually talking about is structure in the way that you allow things in your mind, that what ideas that you allow into your household, and which ones you're going to battle out, which ones are worth the battle, and which ones you can kind of let go, right? And so as I become a more mature man, I started to discover that there are things within the music today and of yesterday when I was listening to it that I don't necessarily agree with anymore. There's things inside of the media today that I don't necessarily agree. I can watch a movie and within 30 minutes, there's going to be some sort of ideology forced into that movie. And now it's having an influence on myself and the kids if we're not really aware of these things. If we're not actively looking out for these things. If we're not actively keeping our radar up to be able to detect these sort of things. These ideas can come into your home. These ideas can come in and start to change the dynamics of what it is that you're trying to do with your family. You see, as a man, we are there to provide and protect, and we're not just there to provide just financially. We're there to provide guidance. We're there to provide the direction in which we're going. We're also there to protect them from things that are coming in, not just physically, but mentally as well, and ideologies that don't mix with us anymore, right? I'm not going to go too deep into it, but as a Christian man, there are certain things that I can't allow to come into my household. And so as a man, you have to make the choice to become that leader. You have to make the choice to to do things that maybe some parents just kind of lay down on. You have to be able to take a stand against those things where other parents are just like, oh, well, it's okay, and they should just accept this and they should accept that. No, just because the world's culture tells you something doesn't mean that you're supposed to just lay down. It doesn't take much just to follow everybody else, but it takes a lot of courage to walk the straight and narrow. It takes a lot of courage to be the one person that is going the opposite direction of what your friends are going, to be the one person that's going the opposite direction of what most people are doing. You must be the stronger individual in that equation. You must be willing to filter through, yes, the music. You must be willing to filter through the videos that you guys are watching on YouTube or online. You must be willing to filter through who you choose to support on these streaming platforms, what movies you decide to go see, right? Maybe it comes down to you pre-screening them before allowing your children to actually watch them. Like, we're getting ideals in Disney movies, like big time. Like, they're starting to happen big time, and it's not even a kind of slight thing anymore. It's injected completely. As a man, it is your job to go and to protect those family members. It's your job to protect your children from these things. It's your job to fight these ideas and these things that want to come and take over your home. And yes, what does that mean? Sometimes that means some uncomfortable conversations with your kids. Sometimes that means some uncomfortable conversations with your family members. Sometimes that means putting yourself in a place where you're not going to be very popular in your household, but you're not there for a popularity contest. You're there to raise some kids, to protect some people. You are there because that is your assignment. That is your ministry. That is the very thing that God has gifted you with. That is the very thing that God has said, this is your responsibility. This is what I need you to do. As I think back, it makes me want to really thank my mom. Thank the person that planted those seeds. Thanks the pastors, the deacons, and the people that were around during that time for really instilling these principles. Like I said, there may be things that didn't stick, but there was a lot of structure that stuck. There was a lot of disciplines that stuck. There's a lot of things that I can look back on and say, it was a good thing that I was exposed to that. It was a good thing that I had those restraints as a child, because now I'm able to take that, remix it, and put it into my version of what provide and protect means for my family. Hey, listen, if this video created any sort of value for you, if you got anything from this video, let me know in the comments. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notifications so that way you can get one of these videos to help motivate you every single day when I'm posting them, all right? We'll see you soon. Live with purpose, and always, always, always keep evolving.